promise, from wherever you are coming from, Arizona homes are completely different than what you're used to. So many little tiny things. And let me tell you, when I first moved here from California, the first thing I noticed was all the block fencing around the homes. It felt so, I don't know, prison-like, these gray cylinder type of block walls. And again, I came from California where there was beautiful wood fences, and I realized, number one, wood's not going to last, not even one summer in Arizona. And then the other part, the block wall, kind of lasts forever, and the ground's not shaking like California. And so it actually made sense to have block walls. You get a lot more privacy. And like I said, they last, I'm going to say, 3 decades, 4 decades. It's definitely longer than a wood fence, but they're not forever. And some of the beautification that people are doing, the thing these days is either a mural or just painting the inside of the fence. So it can make it feel very picturesque, however you want to set the theme for your beautiful outdoor experience in your backyard. Let's talk about the top 10 things, though, that's completely different or in some similarities, but some things you should be aware of with Arizona homes. The first one is, I would say 99.9% of the homes in the greater Phoenix area have HVAC units. So if you're coming from the East Coast, that means it's one unit that covers heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So when we get calls from people and they say, I want to make sure it has an air conditioner. If the home is within the last 30 years, it has an air conditioner. We haven't used swamp coolers since the 1900s. That sounds so long ago. And you're going to have two parts of this. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's a lot of people that don't realize when you go to replace the AC unit, it is the entire unit. It is the condenser and also the furnace. Usually the condenser is on the ground on the side of your home or on your roof if your home was built in the 80s or 70s. And the furnace is either located in your attic or somewhere in a closet. Again, these units should be replaced about every, I would say, to be most energy efficient, you're going to be 10 to 12 years. They will last up to 20 and even 25 years. But think about it. Are you at your prime at 25-year-old car, right? There's so much technology and more energy efficiency, etc. So if you are looking at an older home, you want to make sure there's 1 ton per every 500 square feet. If your tonnage is too small, like let's just say you have 2,100 square foot single level home and you have one unit that is a 4 unit, I'm telling you, your AC is going to be going like this as fast as hard as it can, and you're going to have a tendency for a shorter life expectancy, or it's going to break down. So when you are doing your home inspection, if it's not a new home, you're going to want to make sure that you have an HVAC inspection to make sure that you have the right tonnage so that you get the most. All right, number 2 is tile roofs. Most of the roofs that we have these days are tile roofs. Again, if we go back to the 80s or earlier, you're going to find different types of shingles, etc. But for the most part, it's tile roofs. Now, here's something really interesting. If you go on Google and you type in, how long does a tile roof last? It'll say 20 to 30 years. And then if you type in Arizona, it says 12 to 20 years. Kind of funny, right? Here's the thing. In Arizona, when you get a new roof, you're not getting new tile. You're getting what they call underlayment paper. And if you think about it, again, with technology, everything is becoming better. Things are lasting longer, except for refrigerators. You know what I'm saying, though. So if you buy a home that has an original underlayment paper underneath that tile, if it's 20 years old, your home inspection is going to show that it's beyond its life expectancy. Does that mean that it's leaking right now? Not necessarily, but if you're a home buyer on a roof that has a 20-year-old underlayment paper, you're going to want to make sure when you go in to buy this home, knowing that you're going to be replacing that underlayment paper within the next 3 to 5 years. So again, ask questions when you're working with us. We will make sure that we advise you and let you know what is going to be expected over the next 5 to 10 years, which is normal length for home ownership. All right, number 3, this is the biggest complaint we get from people, but at the same time, it's the biggest request. People love or hate desert landscaping, or another terminology is called xeriscape. Look, you gotta love Arizona to understand it. And once you understand Arizona, you'll love it. The desert, it takes care of itself, but you at the same time need to help preserve its beautification, its natural beautification. And bringing palm trees from Florida or Mexico or green grass from California or Washington State, that's not Arizona. I know we all love it, but that's just not the case. There are certain palms that do better. There's other trees too that are natural to Arizona that are very drought resistant, which I'll tell you, the last 20 to 25 years that we've had a drought in the Southwest, people that have had desert landscaping have definitely fared through it much easier than those that had the big green trees, palms, grass, etc., especially with the hottest July the entire world has ever seen. So definitely xeriscape is highly recommended. You'll even find rebates from cities, whether it's new landscaping or if you buy a home that already has grass, if you convert it to some of the turf and desert landscaping, you get some rebates on your bills. Everybody loves saving money, right? All right, the number 4 thing, I'll tell you, this is the biggest problem Arizona has. And if you do this, again, a Google search, Arizona is known for terribly small lots. I'll tell you, it's frustrating. We have more land than probably any other state. We have more buildable land than any other state. And why these lots are continue to be small, I really don't understand. Just be prepared. And I love it when people are like, no, I don't need a big house. I just want a little house on a lot of land. Well, that's when you actually will get a little house with a little land. If you want a little house on a lot of land, you have to go way out far into non-planned communities. I'm telling you, there is one new community that is coming up with almost 5,000 homes that they guarantee the minimum lot width will be 50 feet. Most will be 60 feet. So if that is important to you, definitely going to give us a call and we will get you in the right direction. What you will find, areas that have older homes like Tempe, parts of Glendale, parts of Phoenix that have some really big lots. Again, people are, for some reason, they're just gravitating towards new construction and the city keeps growing out further and further and further. I'm telling you, when I first moved here, it was an hour from one end to the other. Now to go truly from the furthest northwest to the furthest southeast is over 2 hours, guys. So take that into consideration. Number 5, here's something that people don't understand. And this is, again, something that comes up on every home inspection. I always say there's no such thing as a crackless house. You are going to continue to have cracks. Even if you buy a new construction home, if you see cracks initially, they will fix them. And then on the 1-year punch list, you will have more cracks. If you have cracks on a 5-year-old home, it's not anything to be worried about, or a 10-year-old home. Here's what you want to be conscious of. As long as the crack is smaller than a nickel's width, it's normal. Our soil is clay-like. So when it rains, not often, but when it rains, it's like a sponge and it just swells up. And when it's dry, what happens? It cracks the ground. So if the ground cracks, so does your house. We do build almost all the newer construction homes. I would say anything under 30 years is going to be on post-tension slab. But some people don't realize this. When you start drilling into your slab for gun safes or remodeling bathrooms or changing these kind of things, it voids your warranty. So make sure you know what you're doing when you're coming to Arizona. Arizona is a little bit different. All right, number 6 on the list is termites, or let's just call it bugs. Okay, we have a lot of bugs. We live in the desert. All right, guys, we all know about the scorpions, rattlesnakes. That's not in every single home. But what is in every single home, honestly, it's a matter of if you have termites, not if, it's when. You will have termites some point in the history of the time you own a home here. As long as you stay on top of them, and because our termites are much more visual, they build tubes that come up from the ground. You almost always can start to see them on the slab, on the foundation slab around the perimeter of the home. I always tell people what you want to do anyways, because we do have a lot of water and your property is going to be used as a runoff, you want to seal your foundation slab every year, once a year. Just grab yourself a gallon of paint, the same color as your home, and it's latex. And you're just going to reseal that foundation. As long as you check your home on an annual basis, you'll stay in front of the termites. And I would highly recommend that you have bug service on the outside. You don't necessarily need it on the inside, because if you do the outside correctly, you won't have them on the inside. I'll be glad to refer you to my guy. He's been doing my house for over 20 years. I have never had a bug in my house. He's a good guy. Every other month, $65. So that's something to, again, plan ahead. All right, the next one I kind of touched on a little bit is that we in Arizona have one kind of natural disaster. It's funny, people get it mixed up. We have the haboobs and we have the monsoons. And it's funny, people have it mixed up. The haboob is just a big brown cloud, and it causes a heck of a mess, but there's no water in a haboob. The monsoon is the mini hurricanes. So anyways, you are going to want to make sure, and the builders will do this. The builders will automatically grade your home at a minimum of 12% grade. What happens when the water comes running down, the water will come down. It'll go from the back of the house to the front of the house, and then from the front of the house down the street, usually into a water retention area that is beautified, usually by grass and bushes and trees. And some people are like, grass. Well, the reason they put grass there is because, again, the water runoff is what feeds it. And it will help also soak and keep that water in the ground, because, again, we don't just use surface water, we also have underground water. And so this is, again, how Mother Earth stores some of this water that we eventually will drink. And so that's how we catch it and also prevent flooding in the greater Phoenix area. Unlike, again, some of the parts of California, there is such thing as too much of a good thing. And thank goodness Arizona, to date anyways, has not had any flooding problems by way of Mother Nature in the last 30, 40 years. I remember there used to be massive flooding in Rio Verde, but that doesn't happen anymore because, again, all of the grading. All right, next one is water overall, number 8. It should be number 1, right? It's the question that everybody's talking about. First of all, one thing you have to get used to, in the summertime, you will never be brushing your teeth with cold water. You either have hot or warm. Also, you have high water pressure in Arizona. It's just a thing. You're just going to install a pressure valve for like $5. We also have high calcium and magnesium, which does an immense amount of wear and tear on all your appliances, your toilets, even your pool. You're going to see a ring around your pool. Some of the things that people do are water softeners, but you would be surprised that less than half the people in Arizona have water softeners. There's alternative type of systems, and if that's important to you, definitely look into it. But don't be surprised if the home that you are writing an offer on doesn't have a water softener. That's not a standard thing in Arizona, and it is an add-on. Add-on can be anywhere from $1,200 to $3,000, again, depending on the system that you're looking for. One thing about the water overall is it doesn't taste very good in Arizona. Depending on which utility system you're tied to, excellent, I would say good to excellent quality water. But sometimes it doesn't taste well. There are certain cities that have better tasting water. And the one thing I invested in when I did move here was not only a water system, big old bottle thingy in my house, but I have a filter system on my refrigerator and a filter system on my sink. But at the same time, I don't have to drink filtered water while I'm cooking. So just to kind of give you a perspective there. All right, number 9. This is painful for most men and for women that drive trucks, and that is we have small garages too. If you buy a pre-owned home from not literally 2010 and older, it has a small garage. Sorry, folks, rarely. I mean, they didn't have big trucks. Think about the size of trucks today. The SUVs are even ginormous. Trucks just are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the garages aren't. So if big garages are important to you, let us know when you give us a call. Not only can we find you over the height garages, but extended length garages. We have tandem garages, and overall, if parking is important to you, we want longer driveways, right? And you just got to let us know so that we can help direct you. There are some communities that are notorious for small driveways and communities that are notorious for really long driveways, really tall garages, and really long garages. So yeah, truck drivers. And the last thing that I wanted to get back to you on, this is just something really odd. Again, coming from California, we always had a water spigot right outside of the garage. I guess I just kind of assumed it. Well, the one thing you don't see here is a water spigot right outside of the garage. And I don't know if it's on purpose, but washing your car in the driveway in the Phoenix area is kind of a not good. Neighbors will look at you like, thanks a lot, man. The one thing you will find is a plethora of car washes throughout the greater Phoenix area. Not only are they relatively cheap, we used to have $3 car washes. Now they're $5, like just the ones that you drive through, or you can have a full detail for as little as 20. And then of course they go up from there, and they'll even come to your house for 100. It depends on what you're looking for. But here's the thing, we dry and dusty. If you get a white vehicle and you have a good wax job on it, you actually will not need to wash it as often as if you have a different color car. So there's something. And we all want to use water carefully, and all the car washes are reclaimed water. All right, guys, I would love to share with you. I have a list literally of like 500 things that are totally different about Arizona, but you got to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. These nights or weekends, we got your back when moving to Phoenix, Arizona. And I don't care how silly or long your questions are, I'm telling you, we got the answer. Can't wait to hear from you. Pick up that phone today. Thanks. See you soon. Bye.